Hey! What's wrong, Puppet Me?
Oh, hey, Human Gage. I'm just feeling kinda down in the dumps.
Down in the dumps? How so?
Well, I feel like I've been seeing the same movies, same games, same videos, and to be honest, it's kinda bumming me out.
Sounds like you need a little edutainment.
What, man?
Edutainment! It's a simple concept, best explained in song.
Oh boy.
Hit it, Aaron.
When you're feeling a tad down and you're destined to frown, don't you wanna learn more about video stores and movies, GameCube games and theater candy? Well, I think I know what you're longing for. You are wanting to get a little edutainment. Sit down, enjoy some edutainment. Learning in a classroom may make you snore, but with some edutainment we'll learn so much more. Pop on an informing lesson to fight ignorance and boredom. By the end of the day, you may have mastered some form of education. Edutainment is the better way. But I don't like learning. It's boring. Well, you may be surprised to learn you've been learning all your life. Hey, I don't go to school. I'm a puppet. Who's been teaching me? Well, I'm glad you asked. Steve Irwin taught us about rocks and nature. Sesame Street sang songs about numbers and letters. I learned most of my science from Bill Nye the Science Guy. Anthony Bourdain documented worldwide cuisine, such as the French fry. Information's all around us, from Alaska to Laos. We just have to open our ears and hear the passion of our pals. Edutainment's all we need to keep our brains active, because we all know that understanding is quite attractive.
Okay, we get it. One more time.
My hope is for edutainment to give you more perspective. Hopefully my okay singing made that point effective. And the very best way for edutainment to impress is watching my YouTube show, Gauge your interest.
Huh, supposed to be a title card.
Today, we will be talking about puppets. I've grown up with puppets, so this is a very special topic for me. From Sesame Street to Forgetting Sarah Marshall, these little guys have influenced a wide range of audiences. But what exactly is a puppet? Well, it's a movable model that represents a person, animal, or creature that is used in entertainment and is typically either controlled by strings from above or by a hand inside. Simple enough concept for an art form, one with a lot of history dating back to 5th century ancient Greece. Aristotle even wrote about them in one of his major biology texts on the motions of animals. It's also worth noting that puppetry originated in different regions of India. Most notably, puppetry is mentioned as Bhumaletam in the 2nd century epic Siladpatikaram. Puppets aren't purely for entertainment, though. Asia uses a form of shadow puppetry called shadow theater. This originated in both India and Indonesia, where shadow theater has a spiritual and cultural significance. In all parts of Asia, these puppets are made from an animal's hide, whether it be from a goat, donkey, or buffalo. Now, not to get all PG-13 on you, but to gather this material, the creator would have to skin, scrape, and stretch this hide in order to make their puppet. This gave them a very personal experience with death. Legend has it that shadow theater originated so that Chinese Emperor Wudi could communicate with his deceased love. They can also be used to make a political statement through a life-size sculpture one can move around called an effigy. Here's an example of one now. Salt is very flammable, and I will not be associated with such fires. Of course, there are many subsections of puppetry, such as shadow puppets, marionettes, bunraku puppets, and of course the ever-so-classic sock puppet.
Hello there, Sock Puppet Vinny here to remind you to go outside and drink plenty of water. Alright, I said the thing, pay up.
Aw, come on now, Vinny. Isn't the joy of education rewarding enough?
No. See you later!
I should have known something was afoot. A lot of people have this preconception that puppets are mainly a medium used to entertain children, but this is simply not the case. Movies like Being John Malkovich and Team America World Police puts puppets in a mature, adult situation.
You shall die a peasant's death!
What excites me about these two examples is that the movies are on totally opposite ends of the dramatic comedic spectrum. This scene from Being John Malkovich conveys Craig's, John Cusack's, inner desires through his love of puppetry, while Team America World Police takes a less conventional approach by having their puppets engage in over-the-top violence in a very lewd sex scene. Gage, how can it be that graphic if it's just two puppets without genitalia colliding with each other in a comedic rhythm? Just trust me on this one, okay? Some of my favorite movies that feature puppets utilize them in various capacities. Little Shop of Horrors had this giant puppet plant that eats people and sings. The Empire Strikes Back used a puppet to portray the wise mentor Yoda. The Thing used a puppet to portray the Thing's version of a doggy. Ooh. And Gremlins use them to portray their lovable titular characters. Which I think was a better choice than their alternative, using actual monkeys. That would have been bananas! Though the modern stigma of puppets being children's entertainment is somewhat earned through popular culture with shows like Howdy Doody. This character originally was just a voice on the radio at WNBC by Buffalo Bob Smith. However, when Smith was featured on Puppet Playhouse in 1947, it was requested that Smith created a visual representation for that character. And so the puppeteer, Frank Paris, created the original Howdy Doody puppet, which spawned a show that ran till 1960. The show that replaced Howdy Doody was The Sherry Lewis Show, which featured puppet characters like Charlie Horse and Lamb Chop. Though these characters made their debut in the 60s, most people know them from Lamb Chop's Play-Along, which ran from 1992 to 1997. Though Sherry Lewis passed away in 1998, Sherry's daughter, Mallory, continues to tour with Lamb Chop and support the USO and multiple charities. What does Lamb Chop represent to you, and what do you think she represents to her fans?
Well, to me, she's my little sister. Lamb Chop is a connection to my mother, and she's part of my family. I mean, I've known her my whole life. To her fans, she is a connection to their childhood. She represents a simpler time, not just in the world, but a simpler time in their lives when they were little. And she represented them when they were little. And so she reminds them of their more innocent childhood.
Around the debut of the Sherry Lewis Show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood also used puppets in the land of make-believe, where Fred Rogers himself puppeteered some characters. Although most people associate puppets with, you guessed it, the Muppets! Yay!
Which means, in this case, Congress was nothing more than a puppet to the food industry. No offense.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not a puppet. I'm a Muppet.
Oh, what's the difference?
Well, a puppet is actually controlled by a person, whereas I am an actual talking frog.
Jim Henson is probably one of my favorite entertainers ever. Born in 1936, Jim started dabbling in building and wrangling puppets in high school, and by college he created Salmon Friends with his future wife, Jane, which ran on a local channel in Washington, D.C. for 6 years. After he graduated college, he started doing experimental films and advertising for Wilkins Coffee.
I've got 5 aces. Can you beat that? I've got a can of Wilkins coffee. Nothing beats Wilkins.
After that, he developed the children's program Sesame Street, which is still going strong today after 50 years on the air. In the early 70s, Henson was worried that his craft was only being viewed as children's entertainment. So, in order to combat this narrative, Henson and his team did sketches for a brand new variety show called Saturday Night Live.
Oh, what's this hanging over his bed?
What's that? It's a picture of Lily Tomlin.
They only did one season for SNL, and then the show was instantly canceled. I think. But after this experiment, Henson went on to create The Muppet Show.
It's The Muppet Show with tonight's guest star, Mr. Joel Grey.
It feels like a waste of breath to even talk about the Muppets because they're such a well-known staple of pop culture. Everyone knows about Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, the Great Gonzo, and of course, Kermit the Frog.
Do you understand?
Oh, sure.
Oh, well, some people learn faster than others.
This crew has been in multiple TV shows, movies, games, and merchandise. Not to mention it spawned Frank Oz's career, who went on to play Yoda in Star Wars and direct Little Shop of Horrors. Henson went on to create Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal, and Fraggle Rock before he passed away in 1990. The beautiful thing about the Muppets is that they're evergreen in their media presence. A movie or a TV show may look dated due to technological limitations at the time, but the Muppets are practical and present. You can slap Kermit and the gang in most situations and they'll bounce off beautifully with each other and the human characters. Puppets are probably one of the most underappreciated tools in the entertainer's tool belt. They can make you laugh, scream, and say things that we may be too afraid to say. Jim Henson has said Kermit is just his bolder alter ego. The return of puppets and practical effects is something that I would love to see in more modern media, but I guess we'll see what the future holds.
But yeah, puppetry will always be an art form. Children will always love puppets, and adults do as well.
And if you think puppets are just for kids, I'm gonna tell you to put a sock in it.
Hey, I heard that.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I appreciate you watching all the way through. But special thanks to our patrons, Elly, Megeara, Enrique Gonzales, John Agnew, Parker, Super Swim Team 7, Reynold Hughes, and of course a Nurchin. You guys make this all happen, and we super appreciate it. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Well, I don't know if they're going to be seeing you, per se.
But I am you.